Imagine your first season in the NBA ending with the Rookie of the Year trophy after you were traded on the day of the draft itself. Imagine becoming your franchise's leader in career triple-doubles in just 2 seasons. Imagine scoring 10,000 points at just the age of 25. And imagine being at the peak of your powers where you're scoring 34.4 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 9.7 assists per game while single-handedly dragging a franchise towards a shot at glory, and you're being overlooked by almost everyone as an MVP candidate. Now that's gotta hurt, at least a little bit. This is the story of Luka Doncic, who despite putting the value in most valuable, is still perhaps being underappreciated for his impact on the Mavericks, and that's what we're gonna look at in this video. Now, it's time to crunch some numbers and see that are we really sleeping on Luka Doncic in his MVP case this season? Now, while Luka's numbers are spectacular in isolation, one has to also acknowledge how they hold in comparison this season, as he is currently leading everyone in points per game, is 3rd in assists, and 20th in rebounds after playing in 51 games as of now. But what is also surprising is that he is 7th in steals per game as well, averaging 1.6 per game, which just highlights how he is thriving at Dallas as a true blue position-less guard with the added skills of a forward. Now, one would have thought how the arrival of Kyrie Irving would probably impact Luka's numbers, considering how both these players love the ball in their hands, but despite Irving bringing his skills to the court, it has only elevated Luka to perform even better. And even Irving has acknowledged how their partnership is continuing to grow.
We know who we are. We're very talented, but I think what gets overshadowed for me and Luka specifically is just how good of teammates we are, on and off the floor. We are very selfless. Obviously, I have a ton of respect for him. He has a ton of respect for me, but we know we're not going anywhere without galvanizing this group together and holding each other to that high standard.
And as someone who has long been considered as one of the best players in the league since his debut, Luka still deserves more recognition for the work that he has put in and the results that he has fetched despite being the only major star on the Mavericks team. Betting odds currently have Luka in the top 5 for the MVP, but even then, they continue to rate Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and even Jason Tatum ahead of him in most debates. This dichotomy again makes it difficult to look at what value means in isolation, and whether your performance as a player in a stacked roster as compared to a one-man or two-man team really impact how the voting is influenced across the season, considering how a team, which is led by a singular all-star figure, is anyway expected to rely on their star for more value as opposed to a roster which already has more than 2 stars. Luka has already taken his team to the conference finals alone, but an award being given in the regular season shouldn't sway someone's opinion because of a player's playoff record. And as far as being the face of the NBA is concerned, Luka has never made it a point to personally stake his claim in this discussion, and in fact is better positioned than the likes of Tatum, both in terms of capability, skill, and impact, while shouldering the responsibility of being the most reliable player on his roster. However, all this discussion would pretty much be of no use if Luka and the Mavericks end up outside the playoff spots, as they are currently 8th in the Western Conference standings after their loss against the Boston Celtics, and before their matchup versus the Philadelphia 76ers, with 60 games already played, with a defensive rating of 117.5, the Mavericks are currently languishing in the bottom 5 in terms of rankings, and they will need a massive push in the last 22 games left to claim a playoff spot this year. And despite Joel Embiid's plans to return from injury anytime during the regular season, he is not touted to be an immediate threat again in the MVP standings. But in a competitive Western Conference, the business end of the season will be crucial for Luka to fend off competition from the likes of Nikola Jokic, who is slowly and steadily becoming the favorite candidate for the MVP honors. Will he do that? Guess we'll find out. And on that note, we come to the end of this video. Do make sure you'll like it, hit that subscribe button to join our growing community, and let us know in the comments if you think that Luka Doncic deserves to win the MVP this season, and we will see you in the next one.